It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman, and this is the Forum on Eagle Community Television. It's good to have you watching along here on this Forum program. Our guest is State Representative from our area, Sue Boldra, and it's what I'd call spring break at the legislature.
Yes, it is.
Where everybody takes a break, they get a chance to come back, talk to their constituents, and really kind of gear up for the final session. Give me a little bit of government class here, and for our viewers out there that want to know, you take the spring break where in theory most everything is supposed to be in.
Yes.
You come back, talk to constituents, then what kind of time limits are you in to finish up this year's session?
Well, 90 days is supposed to be our session, and May 12th is day 90. There's some concern that with the big budget bill and the issues that we're going to be facing, that we may not be done in 90 days. But that's the plan. That is still our hope. And I feel pretty, well, I'm not real certain, but I feel a little confident that we will be done in 90 days.
Well, one of the things I know that it really surprised me about this session are the number of kind of new items that have come out, and all of a sudden here they are, and it's like, well, I didn't even know that was an issue in Kansas. And so there's a list. We'll talk about some of those. Did it feel that way to you? Because when we interviewed you, well, right before Christmas, right before going back, it seemed like it was, you know, we got to deal with education. We do that every year.
Right.
But
and we knew it would be a budget because we're now doing a 2-year budget, so we knew that would be, but I did not see many of these things coming out of the woodwork.
Well, let's talk about some of those. First off, education, we almost have to go there first because that's such a big deal for our state,
yes,
a big deal for our students, our kids, et cetera.
And a big deal for Hayes. We are an education community.
And with the university, with our schools, we have both private and public schools. How do we deal with those things? In your case, it would seem like we've taken either a new route, is that the way to word it, where we're going to really kind of throw the traditional funding route out and start again, is that right?
Yes, it is. Many are upset with the formula. And I have to admit, there are parts of that formula, it's kind of like tax policy. You just tweak it every year, and finally since 1992, things have been tweaked so that many times we don't even understand what all is in there. And so I think it's time we did look at the finance formula. I'm not sure we should just dump everything and start with a block grant, but that's what we have decided to do. I will have a seat at the table when we talk about the new finance formula, except that you probably know Senator Abrams has already come out with something that he would like to try on those 6 innovative school districts that 2 years ago we put in the innovative school districts so that they can apply and they can do things a little bit differently. They still have to follow the state laws, et cetera, and they still have to show that their students are learning, but they can change the way they do hours or school days or those kinds of things. And so we've given them a little more latitude. And 2 large schools, Blue Valley is one of them that has chosen to do that. Some small schools, Manhattan and a school in Topeka have decided to do that. McPherson, and then Hugoton and Marysville. So we have some large schools, some middle schools, and some small schools.
And a good cross-section.
Yeah. And I kind of like the idea. Let them try out Senator Abrams' plan. We would find where the glitches are. It wouldn't be mass. Everybody wouldn't be doing this. And those 6 innovative districts have already set themselves aside. We wouldn't be picking winners and losers. It's those who wanted to be a little bit different and try different things. And I think this is a great way to start. Let's see if they get that through. Both sides. We haven't seen it on the House side yet. But I wouldn't be opposed to letting Senator Abrams, I don't know, I guess you just call it a suggestion or
an experiment?
An experiment, yes. Yeah. And see how it goes.
It's worth a try. It's worth a try because in doing this, and I guess my question for you on this, in our area, does anybody win under this new formula, or is it all kind of everybody just loses a little more?
I think the big schools won. And I think anyone who has money set aside in a silo now can use that anywhere.
Big schools being Wichita, Kansas City.
Blue Valley has money, lots of money sitting aside. And now, it was always the school board said, well, we can't raise teacher salaries. We have this money, but it can only be used for buildings or for specific things. Well, now with the block grant, they can open that up and teachers can say, you do have money to give us salary increases now. So that can work either way, but those are the kinds of funds that we traditionally have swept if they had too much, which I don't think is right. You ask a school district to be responsible, to set money aside for things that they want to do later, and then they have too much money, so we sweep it. Dr. Martin has explained that that's the difference between a commonwealth, where she's from in Virginia, and a state, in that if you have the money in a commonwealth, they can't take it from you. It's yours once it's yours. A state works a little bit differently.
So you think you can get that through on the behalf of Dr. President Martin?
As you know, the universities, the Regents universities, have been held flat but harmless as far as we're concerned. They didn't take any of the money. We can't raise tuition rates for 2 years. But Dr. Martin is okay with that. We're okay. She was concerned that we would sweep some of the money that Fort Hays itself has built, funding that they have, that doesn't belong to anybody else, that we've done through our foundations or through increased enrollment or through our China connection. We have raised some funds that we have put aside for a specific
That really
building.
just penalizes those schools
Oh,
that
absolutely.
have been forward-looking.
Absolutely, yeah.
What about the little schools, the smallest schools in our area that are out there? Are they, again, sometimes it's just size just makes it almost impossible to be efficient.
Yes, that's true.
And so how does it affect, like, say, the Hays, and then you get to the smaller districts like Waukegan and Russell and even smaller towns? Same way everybody just hurts a little more?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that was one of, I'm maybe a bit optimistic, but I think that's one of the things that we're looking at, because with the old formula, even the big wealthy districts got equalization funding for being large. And they were spending as much on their students per student as Grinnell or a small school that really needed the money, because we have to have a building. I mean, there are just things that we have to pay for, whether you have 100 students or 2,000 students. And so I hope that that's what the new funding formula will address.
What does one state representative do if you just don't like it?
You vote no, but you're often outvoted.
Well, I appreciate your insight, because you have such a good education background, and you know both the university side and the school side of it from your history there, so it's good to have you on our team for that part of things. Yeah. Another part that's going on, and this and I'm trying to figure out, is this is a good idea, bond funding for our pension in the state, and it seems like there's a lot of borrowing going on, both through the block grant type of thing, and then the funding of pensions that way. Are we just finding another way to borrow money instead of finding ways to raise money to offset?
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think we need to do something in the interim. We can't let capers get hurt. Obviously, too many people are relying on that. And the gentleman from Assyria, the representative from Assyria, who is on the benefits committee and has done a lot of work with this, really thinks that this is an okay idea. As interest rates are low, we should make a little bit of money on these bonds, and we will pay them off. It'll be a little later than we had hoped. We hoped originally, Ron Estes was out here several times in the last couple of years saying that it will be solvent by the year 2020. And then it was going to be solvent by the year 2030. And now 2040 is our target date. But I think it's something that we had to do until we find another funding mechanism. And I think that's what many of us are looking for, is a new funding mechanism. Tell us where we can really, I mean, a sin tax on tobacco products and liquor isn't going to be substantial. And if we do pass that, and many health organizations are really pushing for it, because the higher the tax on cigarettes, they think the fewer people will smoke. And so if that works, then obviously the money accrued from the taxes will be less if they actually quit smoking. So that's not a constant. I still think we need to look at that glide to zero, and at the LLCs and the pass-through money that's not taxed that probably should be. I think there are too many exemptions. And there are a number of us with a real appetite to do that. But there are many who were there in 2010 that passed that severe tax cut that are still holding to it. So I'm not sure what will happen there.
You know, at some point, you know, you can borrow against one side and end up paying for that long term. You're sort of like mortgaging your future on some of that,
Yeah.
and you see that happening. And so
Yeah.
I think the pushback is people need to know that's what we're doing.
That's right.
It's not a magic formula.
And they
we're
compared
solving.
it to a credit card. You know, you've got this much money on this credit card, and it's got an interest rate of 17%, and you can roll it over to this credit card where there's only a 6.7 interest, so that you still owe the same amount, but you're paying less because your interest rate is less. And so that's the way they've kind of sold the Capers plan.
Let's move on down.
All right.
A couple of things. Another one that was just clear surprise to me is the everybody can carry a gun rule that went through, or law that went through. And I don't know where that came from, other than the fact that there are certain groups that want to have everybody with a gun. But where did that come from?
Well, you know, we passed a concealed carry law several years ago that allows you to take a concealed carry course, and if you are an upstanding citizen and you can pass all the tests in the course, you have a right to concealed carry. Well, there are many people who say, in America, in Kansas, there are many who carry guns without a concealed carry permit, and those are the bad guys. Those are the people who are breaking the law. And in Kansas, we already have an open carry law when you're out hunting or whatever. If it's open, you can't conceal it, but you can open carry in almost any place in Kansas, unless it's in a municipal area that already bans those, or a building that bans them. If you walk in the country, down the country road with a shotgun because you're hunting or because you're just walking, you can do that. We have open carry in Kansas. Always have had. So there are many people who say, especially with the mass killings, the man in Denver who passed by 2 theaters because they didn't have the stickers on their door that said no guns here. That's the one he chose because he didn't think there'd be anyone in the audience with a gun. And so many people feel it makes us safer. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to have a gun. And you still, if you purchase a gun legally, you're still going to go through the NICS check. You're going to go through the 4473, we used to call it the yellow sheet. You're going to have to answer all those questions. So you're going to have to be a law-abiding citizen to buy one legally. But there are lots of people out there who buy them illegally. And that's the issue. If I am an upright, outstanding citizen without any problems, then I should be able to carry a gun.
When I first heard of that, boy, Kansas taking the lead on this, and Kansas not. We're
No.
the 5th state,
Yeah.
as I understand, for
Yeah.
doing that. So that was a surprise to me. Another one that came out, and this was interesting, that the nation's first ban on common second trimester abortions. That was, I didn't even know that was on the talking block, and all of a sudden there it is.
Yeah, Senator Garrett Love brought that, and we have a very strong pro-life contingency in Kansas, and this really is about dismembering the fetus. It doesn't really change the whole idea that if there's a woman is pregnant because of a rape, or if the health of the mother is in jeopardy, it doesn't change any of those. It just changes the type of abortion that can take place.
They do that. And so it made sense in your book on how that
Yeah.
worked and all
Yeah.
that. So what about the liquor licenses? It looks to me like that has taken a couple of interesting turns. You walk out of the grocery store and you'll see some signs up saying, boy, we need to be able to do this. And you walk into other areas and other small businesses, and they'll say, hey, we can't do this because it really takes away some things we have. How did that shake out in Topeka?
Well, I don't think it's ever going to come up for a vote. I don't think they have enough people to push that. We've seen that every year we've been up there. This year there was a really big push to get uncork Kansas. But I think there are enough small places, small communities that really don't want it for one reason or another. And of course, the 2 big giants that would win in this case don't even have headquarters in Kansas. So the little guys, the small liquor stores in Hayes and Ellis and Victoria would certainly be in jeopardy. And I've always said I am very pro-business, but I'm also a fan of small business. And so they know I will vote no.
And so that made sense. And
Yeah.
you know, there's been a lot of these things that are just like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are almost small versus large.
Yes, urban versus rural. And I understand if you're on the Missouri-Kansas line and they're going to walk across the line to buy their liquor, then it makes sense there. So there was some talk about doing it county by county. Well, in many states, there are certain counties. Oklahoma has a number of counties that still don't have liquor stores. But I think that would be too divisive and too irregular. It would be hard to control. You know, I'm sure you've seen the Hayes Daily that if you count them up, there are 54 employees in our small liquor stores here. And I doubt if the big box stores took over the liquor business, I doubt they would employ 54 people just to do that. And I think we would lose here.
One of the things I know, when you go to Topeka, you represent our area, and you represent the rural versus the urban thing. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we come back. Our guest is our state representative, Sue Boldra. Great conversation here. She'll be back. We'll talk about some more things, what's happening, what will happen when we go back in April, on April 29th, and decide how to vote on some of these things. We'll be back with more after this from Hayes Med.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum program. The forum's brought to you by Hayes Med. If you have any questions, ideas, suggestions, any great ideas for us, let me know. It's Gary Shorman, gary.shorman@eaglecom.net, or you can find us on Facebook under ECTV Forum. Our guest is Sue Boldra, who is our state representative, representing us in Topeka here the first part of the year. We're in the spring break type of thing, but on April 29th, just a few days, you'll be heading back again, Sue. What do you expect in the last final days of session?
Well, I hope we come out with a budget bill that everybody can live with.
And it's a 2-year budget bill.
Yes, it is.
How has that changed the complexity of what you're doing?
Well, it certainly makes us look at unintended consequences a little bit more and try to figure out how we're going to fund it for 2 years rather than one. You know, I think in the past, we always kind of thought, well, it's only for a year, we can fix it. Well, it's for 2 years, and so we have to do a better job.
And the election cycle is interesting how that kind of runs right in conjunction with that. So if it's not fixed, you know, then it plays into the next election cycle as well.
Yes, definitely.
All right. And somebody that wants, I know you've been touring around and will continue to do that. You do a great job of visiting with people. If someone wants to make a comment, again, what's the best way for them to find you and make a comment?
Call my cell phone. My cell phone is everywhere. Or I have a school email, a Fort Hays email, a Gmail, and a legislative email, and I can now get to all three. Last year I couldn't get to my legislative email unless I was on their server, but they've set it up so now we can take it home with us.
So the idea being is that you want to hear back from anybody that has a comment or a thought.
Yeah.
Which of these items that we've discussed in the first part of our show are still up for debate that you'll be working on? The budget is obviously one of them.
Yes.
Gun, the concealed carry,
I think
that's
passed
already
them both
gone
out.
through.
Yeah,
That's gone through.
The governor has signed that one. We have an ag bill right now that's a little contentious.
Why?
I serve as vice chair of the Agriculture Committee, and one of the things that we tried to do early in the session was a new, we tried to correct the way the state checks on people who produce litters or puppies and kittens for resale, or the businesses that have them, the pet stores, or what were called hobby breeders and others who raise those animals for sale. And we don't have enough money to really provide good oversight. We have a woman here that is in charge of all of Western Kansas. I mean, she covers every county, checking on, inspecting those places. And so I've talked to her a number of times, and we really need to step up. The fees for that haven't been changed for 25 years. And even a pet will bring them $200 a piece. And so we really need to raise the fees. We need to change some of the language. They're really not hobby breeders, they're low volume breeders. And we need to make sure that those are being inspected also, because those are kind of under the wire. So we had a bill, and in that bill, we also said that they could not use carbon monoxide to euthanize cats and dogs, that it had to be an injection. There was a lot of people who believe that that's inhumane and whatever. We couldn't get it off the floor because people were upset with the increased fees and da-da-da-da-da. So we went to Dr. Brown at K-State, who is in charge of rules and regs for those kinds of things. And he said, don't worry about it. If you don't get a bill through, I can change that in rules and regs. And Kansas will say that you cannot use carbon monoxide to put down pets, cats and dogs. So we thought it was taken care of. In conference committee, just last week, we had a couple of ag bills that went through, and on one of them was an amendment to take care of the euthanizing, to make sure that they didn't use carbon monoxide. Well, we had decided we'd already taken care of it. It was already going to be in the rules and regs. I think July 1, it was going to be across the state. So we cut that out. Oh my goodness, so many people are so angry that we didn't include that in the bill, and that we're all inhumane and we don't like pets, and oh my goodness. And they don't understand that we took care of it ahead of time. But they're really angry with the chair and the vice chair for taking that out of that bill.
And that goes into the complexity of government. You talk about funding, figuring out how to fund our state for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
That's just one example of those things that get into legislation or get into regulation.
Yes.
And we have that happening with the federal government right now. Just new regulation are out there.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the legislative side
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah.
so the same thing can happen both on good and bad on the state level as
Well, and so often we say we really want more local control. We want local government. The state shouldn't be, the federal government shouldn't be so involved in states, and the state shouldn't be so involved in Hays. We should have local control. And then when we try to do that with some of the issues,
it doesn't work so
No.
well. It doesn't work.
we get a lot of emails.
Well, Sue, good luck as you finish up the session. And when we
Thank
get
you.
things all wrapped up, hope to have you back again and
Okay.
talk about that. Thanks for your
Good.
hard work. I know it's not easy because you also have another real job that
Yeah.
you're trying to get done at the same point in time, so you get
Yeah.
that done. If all goes well, you think you'll be done mid-May maybe, huh?
I really hope so. My contract with the university starts June 1, so I better be finished.
You better be back home, huh? All
Yeah.
right.
Thank
Sue,
you.
thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sue Boldra has been our guest here on
Thank you.
Eagle Communications and our forum program. It's brought to you by Hays Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Hays Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hays Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hays Med, helping people be healthy.